Why is life so easy for everyone else? That was a question I used to whisper in the dark. You know the feeling when it looks like everyone else is gliding through life, like their days unfold like silk, effortless, flowing, unwrinkled. They wake up loved. They succeed without breaking a sweat. It's like a story worth telling. And you, well, you're over here doing the work. You're trying to stay grounded, aligned, faithful, open-hearted. And somehow life feels like a storm you never saw coming. You feel late, forgotten, maybe even punished. I've been there, and I want to tell you a story. There was a season in my life when everything I built crumbled at once. And I don't say that for a dramatic effect. I mean, it literally did. The people I loved left, the money stopped flowing, the plans I held on so tightly fell apart. And the worst part, I did everything right. I meditated, I journaled, I aligned my actions with my purpose. I forgave, I gave, I tried. And still, it all dissolved. I remember one night in particular, it was late and I hadn't eaten all day, and I was sitting on my kitchen floor with bills scattered, the phone silent, my heart shattered. I was crying in a way that didn't make a sound. You know, that kind of cry where your throat is closed, your chest is heavy, and the only thing louder than the silence is the ache inside your body. That night I said it out loud. Why me? And the voice that answered didn't sound like a divine choir or an angel on high. It sounded like a whisper, like the echo of my own soul returning to myself. This is the plan. That whisper haunted me. How could this be the plan? The suffering, the betrayal, the loneliness, the loss. How could this be the path my soul chose? But the more I sat with that question, the more I realized something I'd never seen before. It's easy to believe in divine timing when everything lines up. It's easy to trust the universe when you're getting what you asked for. It's easy to say everything happens for a reason when life is soft and generous. But when it doesn't go the way you envisioned, when you lose the thing you thought you needed, when they leave or the job disappears or your health slips and the love doesn't last, that's when faith stops being a concept and becomes a choice. I started to ask different questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? I asked, what if this is happening for me, even if I don't understand it yet? Instead of, how do I fix this? I asked, what is this experience here to shape in me? And slowly the fog began to lift. Here's what I've come to understand. There are two parts to the plan: what you choose and what chooses you. The things you do in life, your decisions, your dreams, your rituals, your habits, they matter. They shape your path, but the things done to you matter too. The people who ghosted you, the ones who broke your heart, the missed opportunities, the closed doors, the things that happened without your permission. All of that, it's still the plan, still sacred, still holding divine intelligence. Because here's the truth we don't like to admit. Sometimes it goes as intended and it feels amazing, but sometimes it falls apart so something deeper can take its place, not because you're unworthy, not because you failed, but because your soul is playing a longer game than your ego ever could. You think you're losing something, but what if you're being rerouted towards alignment? You think you're being punished, but what if you're being prepared? You think you're stuck, but what if you're being still long enough for the next door to appear? There is a map your soul holds that your mind doesn't always get to see. It doesn't look like a to-do list. It doesn't always flow logic. It rarely makes sense in the moment. But when you look back, you'll see how every ending had to happen, how every wrong turn was really a sacred detour, how every person who left created space for someone who could stay, how every breakdown built a version of you that didn't exist before. Even the heartbreak had a purpose. Even the delay had a rhythm. Even the silence was sacred. So many of the things we resist are actually intentions, moments that invite us to deeper into who we really are, moments that call us back to ourselves. Listen, I'm not here to bypass your pain. I'm not saying everything feels good while it's happening. But I am saying everything that is happening has a role in who you are becoming. You can't always see it when you're in the middle of the mess. But later you'll look back and say, that relationship taught me how to honor myself. Or that job ending taught me how I really value my time. That rock bottom moment gave me my power back. That version of me had to die so I could be born again. That's not romantic. That's not woo-woo. That's truth. That's alchemy. That's the plan. So let me ask you something. What if you believed that everything, the good, the bad, the confusing, the divine, was part of a greater plan? What if you believed the things you do matter and the things done to you carry medicine too? What if you let go of the need for it to always make sense? What if you stopped measuring your progress by how much it looks like it's working? What if you trusted that detours are still directions, that breakdowns are still blessing, that loss is still sacred, that quiet seasons are still growth, that no is still protection? We think the plan is a straight line to success, a clear yes, a fast road, a partner who stays, a job that lasts, a version of self that never breaks. But the real plan, the one your soul signed up for, it includes the silence, the collapse, the heartbreak, the wandering, the lostness, the grief. Because the real plan was never about perfect outcomes. It was always about your return to your own center. It was about becoming who you came here to be, not what the world expected of you. And sometimes that looks like blooming, but sometimes it looks like burning first. So if you're in a season that feels upside down, and if your life doesn't look like the timeline you imagined, and if it feels like the people around you are being blessed while you're being tested, come back to this. This is the plan. Even this, especially this. Not because you failed, not because you're lost, but because your path is sacred, even when it doesn't feel pretty. You're not late, you're not broken, you're not being punished. You're being rerouted, reshaped, rewritten with purpose. Everything you do, everything done to you, all of it still sacred, still part of the same map. So breathe and take the next step. The plan is unfolding, even when it doesn't look like one. I want you to just remember this. If you need some extra guidance, you need a mentor, or you'd like to do a mentorship with me, book in using the link below. I'd love to help you. Until next time.